So moving on to verse 4, let's recite it together. Whenever I see beings of wicked nature or those oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, I will hold such rare ones dear, as if I had found a precious treasure. Doesn't that make you laugh?
It's very difficult.
Huh?
Very tough.
Exactly. Doesn't that make... Are you kidding me? Doesn't that mind tell you that, Are you serious about it?
Only we avoid.
Yes. So here, let's dig deep into it. Why would it be even presented to us? To uproot our sense of aversion. Difficult people are our greatest teachers. And they give us the chance to practice patience, to practice tolerance, compassion, forgiveness. Instead of rejecting them, instead of labeling them and making them like an absolute thing out there, use them as spiritual tools, gifts. They are the ones who are providing you with opportunities. Use them as your gym coach, who every time, your gym trainer, who every time comes and says, no, try harder, use this much more weight, go beyond your comfort zone. Those who are nice to you are being nice to you, but they're not helping you spiritually grow. Because they're nice to you. So when you see your own partner, when you see your own colleague, when you see your own neighbor being irksome, bothersome, they are the ones giving you an opportunity. When are you going to use this tool of patience when everybody is nice to you? When are you going to use this tool of generosity when everybody is like, I'm okay, I don't need anything? Difficult people are like spiritual gold because they challenge us from our comfort zones and they expose us to our own limitation of compassion. So when we train our mind over and over again to see them as precious treasures, they transform our adversaries, and they become like a fodder. Without them, our level of patience, compassion, and tolerance is nothing but a theory, a lip service. Yes, it is not easy, but it is not easy now. If we gradually go on reflecting and putting it into practice, eventually we rise above it. So we will do another meditation here. Once again, assuming a comfortable posture. Bringing to your mind specifically that one person that you find hard to bear. And now, remember, we have visualized ourselves as Chenrezig, or we have visualized Chenrezig on the crown of our head. We are not this ordinary, faulty, nonsensical, narrow-minded person anymore. Keep that in mind. This is not your narrowness engaging in this practice. It is very strategically being presented here at this point in meditation. You've already purified your body, speech, and mind. So this person sitting in front of me reveals to me impatience, reveals to me my capacity of being intolerant. So in some ways they're helping me right now. And from your heart, with all your humility in yours, calmness of your mind, offer them this attitude. May you be free of suffering and confusion. And I thank you for showing me. I thank you for showing me where I really stand in my spiritual progress. Whenever I see beings of wicked nature or those oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, I will hold such rare ones dear, as if I'd found a precious treasure, extending gratitude to them, the light of Chenrezig. Moving on to the verse 5. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander, and scorn, I will take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. Geshe Langri Tangpa is not satisfied just by being little smart. He's saying, now up your game. This can only come from a mind that sees the nitty-gritties of the kaleshas, how deep they can be. Yeah? So when we are blamed or mistreated, we usually like to defend ourselves or retaliate. So when we say here, by taking defeat or offering victory, it's not to say that if somebody is really wrong or being abusive or toxic towards it, that we just go on complying with it. No. On the contrary, we use compassion as our way of dealing with it. Not anger, not aversion. This will allow our ego to loosen the grip on us. Because radical compassion is saying, you need to stand up for what is right, but not necessarily to win. Not necessarily to have the last say in it. You know? We can also respond to very toxic people, situations, with a lot of patience and love. And forgiveness. So what happens here when we do that? It reverses our habitual nature of responding and reacting back with that intensity of aversion. Let's do another brief one here. And this one we will be cultivating forgiveness. So recall a recent situation where you felt wronged. Breathe in the pain and the resentment or hurt. First of all, reminding yourself it is coming from an unenlightened mind. The person doing this to me clearly is living with a lot of toxicity, a lot of ignorance. And now imagine that you are taking in that negativity and transforming that into compassion, just like how Chenrezig can very beautifully transform my negativity into compassion. Breathe out peace and forgiveness and understanding to this person. We repeat this for a few breaths. Even if you have resistance, do it with a resistance for now. Extend forgiveness from the depths of your heart, first to yourself and then to this person obviously I have done some karma. So only then this becomes my experience. If the karma was never created, this wouldn't be my experience. And this experience is empty. Empty of coming from its own side. And by generating this far-reaching attitude of forgiveness, I am creating another cause for not to have such experiences again. So forgive. Imagine Chenrezig's light coming and entering into you. And then verse 6. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, I will regard them still as my precious teacher. It's building on that aspect. But you see, you know how the mind says, if someone has betrayed me, but what if I have betrayed somebody? As if we have never done such things to anybody else. You know? But when we experience something similar, the whole drama, whole narrative starts to rise up. You know, bad person, mean. You have all these adjectives flashing out. Betrayal tests the strength of our practice, you know. The supreme teacher here is the one who reveals the depth of our attachment and expectation. And it's telling us that true compassion does not depend on how others treat us. It has to flow unconditionally from inner freedom. Betrayal and disappointment can teach us deep patience. So these people are definitely spiritual teachers in disguise. If you just switch the way we look at them, he's a mean person. Oh, actually, he's a spiritual teacher. That meanness that I'm experiencing is necessarily the meanness I have extended out. So when somebody is being mean to me, can I react back with meanness? Should I react back with aversion? Should I react back with a sense of acceptance and says, okay, this is meanness, but I don't need to further ignite or feed into that. I can be skillful and I can be forgiving. Moving on to verse 7. In brief, I will offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly, and I will secretly take upon myself all their harmful actions and suffering. Here, it is a very beautiful practice of Tonglen, something that we encourage practitioners who have been studying Buddha Dharma for quite some time to engage in. Something that I would say you can try even at any level of practice, but because it is a very advanced level of mind training, if you are still at a beginner's level and all these verses we have reflected upon so far cause a little bit of deep resistance in you, makes you uncomfortable, then just simply remain. But those who have been studying for quite some time, I'll lead you into a short practice. Yeah? Once again, abide in a comfortable posture. And we will engage in this practice of Tonglen, giving and taking, whereby we are imagining taking the suffering of others and giving them happiness, which helps us cultivate boundless compassion and reduces our own self-cherishing. And all mother sentient beings here refers to the beings who have lived in our past lives, or metaphorically in this life, who have nurtured us. We have had connection with each and every sentient being in our cyclic existence. Visualizing all beings around you, or in, for the ease of visualization, just one person. And as you inhale, imagine drawing in from this person their suffering in the form of a dark smoke. So you can even visualize your own mother who's sick, or anybody else, As you breathe in, visualizing that their suffering is entering into your heart as a dark smoke, and that transforms into radiant light, crushing your own self-cherishing. And as you exhale, you're sending this beautiful light back. Releasing them of this suffering. And if you like, you can even do this practice in a standalone meditative process in the morning. After having recited one mala of Om Mani Padme Hum, visualizing light extending out from your heart center. Or using your breath as a form of making connection, and your breath, when it's releasing out to them light, nectar, entering into their heart, offering them your punya, your merit, your compassion. Do this for a few breath counts. As you inhale all their suffering, their problems, their narrow-mindedness, their sense of attachment, in the form of a black soot or smoke, and entering into your heart. And as it hits your heart center, it should meet your own ego and crush your ego. Use ego to crush ego, like using poison to cut poison. And when you're inhaling, doing that, when you're exhaling, you release, you've transformed it. You have transformed the poison into nectar. You have the skill to transform anger into love. That's what Buddhas do. That's what Bodhisattvas do. Radiating out this beautiful light and sitting in your own compassionate, warm energy. See this person to be radiant as well right now. And the final one, verse 8. I will learn to keep all these practices untainted by thoughts of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, I will be released from the bondage of attachment. Practicing without attachment to the 8 worldly concerns. What are the 8 worldly concerns? We have done this before. When we are doing any kind of an action tainted by receiving praise or receiving adulation or admiration, and we are not doing any practices, or we have aversion for criticism, blame,
Loss.
disgrace, loss, these tainted mindsets keep us binded to the cyclic existence. The corrupt our very engagement of anything positive. So when we engage in these positive actions, we should check our mind. It should not be tainted by these states of mind. Be vigilant. Then that is when we will have a good, clear combination of compassion with wisdom. And realizing that everything is impermanent, illusory in nature, and empty of inherent existence is when we are truly exercising freedom and compassionate action arising from that sense of freedom. So in this particular verse, when we are reflecting on it, is actually where compassion and wisdom unite. You know, the bird needs two wings to fly. It can't just keep flapping compassion. It can't just keep flapping wisdom. It has to flap together to rise. Hence, our every action is then guided by love, rooted in emptiness of self and other. Again, a very brief meditation here. And then this will be a concluding meditation. Once again, assuming a comfortable posture. Visualizing Gyalten Chenrezig once again on the crown of your head, radiant, beautiful, blissful light. Let the thoughts and sensations and emotions arise. So no suppression. Let them come to the forefront. And now notice how fleeting they are. Appearing, don't feed into it. Simply observing, appearing, dissolving, like the waves of the ocean. The waves are rising and disappearing, like the clouds in a beautiful blue sky. Everything is illusory, dreamlike. And what remains really, truly, is the understanding of the nature of reality. And rest in the spaciousness of this awareness. And giving rise to a resolution that all my actions, my thoughts of body, speech and mind are untainted by the concerns of receiving praise or some gain, released from these negative aspects, acknowledging the dreamlike state of these. Rest in that spacious awareness.